Good morning, team. Why knowing what to do is holding you back from achieving your ideal physique goals. Now, we live in an information age. These videos are an example of that. There's never been more information freely available for us to action, for us to implement, and that works. And I'm back in the room. So I'll start again. So why knowing what to do is preventing you from achieving your ideal physique goals. Now, we live in an information age. This video is an example of that. So in that case, there's never been more access, easier to information. Okay, freely available online. Google would have fixed your obesity crisis if information was the main stumbling block. So you may be watching this, and in fact, one of my friends who's watching this right now has probably worked in the health and fitness sector for 20 years. So yeah, hey you, nice to see you checking Gene. So why that can be a stumbling block? Because in the pursuit of our goals, part of our achievement and our past success is in gathering and implementing information. And that works. When it's new knowledge, when we implement the steps and the strategies, we get the result. Examples of that can be, my example is when I was in my 20s as a weightlifter. I've had clients that have run marathons and want to lose 6 stone. So in the past, they've been in amazing shape. I've had clients that have done Ironman, where you swim 2 miles, you cycle 50 miles or more, and then you do a marathon at the end, and yet still struggled in the weight, the health, and the habits, right? So my main point is that information is definitely a part of a process of development and training towards one's goal. So that can be the solution. And in which case, I can always direct people. You can always go on YouTube, Google. You know, there's lots of places that you can acquire that. If that's the main lever for change, if that's the main stumbling block, then that's what you want to focus on. But if you're watching this video and you know how to track food, you understand about exercise, maybe you've had personal trainers in the past, maybe you've been in amazing shape, maybe in fact you've competed internationally in your sport, so you even dialed into some of the more advanced psychology of exercise, nutrition, motivation, all of that. But that said, you can still be stuck. And the reason why we can be stuck is because there can sometimes be this idea that information is the limitation. And again, if I just take a brief moment to go back, for some people that is. But if for you know what to do and things aren't moving forwards, then it makes sense to me that that's not the problem. Now, there is something else that you can do, and there is more work to be done, because again, the harsh reality is that we're not where we know we can be and where we want to be. So what can we do with this? Well, number one is we can just get rid of that idea that we need to gather information. Now, that might not be where you are, but we get these shiny object syndrome where we still look for these quick fixes or these novel ideas. I was in the gym yesterday watching a guy do this crazy type of workout, and Emma was asking me, we was on a treadmill, what type of workout it is, and I do know what he's doing. I do know the style. It's new, relatively. It's like a hybrid thing, but uses basic principles, right? As I believe in what I do. But that person, it's a shiny object basically. They're following this new training plan, this new style. Do you know what? If they're having fun, it is what it is. But you're watching this video. It's probably not fun if you're stuck. It's probably not fun if you're not exactly where you know you can be. And that's the difference, right? That's the difference. When we see lots of people not achieving their potential or our view of their potential, and that's for them. But if you want better, if you know that you can do more, if you have the information, but you still know that your potential is higher, like, just own it. But we can do two things. We can get rid of the ideas, without judgment, the ideas that we need information, because we did, but that's now not the problem, as discussed earlier. And we can do that, number one. But then if we're going to do this, it's also good for us to do this, which is to then say, well, do you know what? I do want better. And if that's different than other people, if that means that my standards are higher, because, people say, oh, you're okay and you're all right as you are and all this stuff. But it's not that you know better. It's that maybe you kind of get this stuff, right? So what can we do? Well, again, if I just link this down in line, you've got information and implementation. Now, in the past, when the information was newly found, newly acquired, it was quickly implemented. Now, at this point, it's a little bit different because we're 10, 20, 30 years older. Things are different. We have stress, we have injuries, we have guilt. I don't want to give up time for my family. It feels challenging to put ourselves first. Sometimes there's a stubbornness that that's not who I am. So there's that identification. And then there's a judgment that if I don't put myself first, then that's not a good example because I tell other people to do. And that can be extremely, extremely painful because it's a sticking point. And that's where we can come to at a certain point in our lives. Not in your 20s, that's for sure. Maybe it's when you're a business owner. Maybe it's when other people look up to you. Maybe it's when you have children, okay? But then what we want to be doing is, instead of maximizing the goals, because in the past, big goals were helpful, but your strength becomes your enemy. So instead of maximizing your goals, we can minimize the goals. We can start to increase over time. But the first thing is just to reframe and reshape this idea that we have about this pursuit of information, this maximization of goals. We want to set small goals. We want to accept that actually we do want better. And as always, I want to get the right person to guide you through the process. Speak to you tomorrow.